When a car is starting to move, it increases in speed and it is said to be accelerating. And when it is about to stop, it decreases in speed and that is also said to be decelerating. So welcome to Learning Science the Easy Way. It is your favorite teacher, Kaumaji Mwansa. So in this video, I'm going to talk about acceleration and how you can calculate acceleration. Acceleration, we're saying, is the rate of change in velocity, or you can say is the change in velocity per unit time. So we're saying acceleration is the rate of change in velocity or is the change in velocity per unit time. So therefore we are saying acceleration is equal to change in velocity divided by the time taken. So this change in velocity simply means that there is the initial velocity and the final velocity. So there is the initial and as well as the final velocity. So we are going to say final velocity minus the initial velocity divided by time is equal to what we are saying as the acceleration. So therefore acceleration is equal to change in velocity divided by the time taken, and acceleration is measured in meters per second squared. Let's look at this example. A truck accelerates from 25 meters per second to 45 meters per second in 40 seconds. Calculate the acceleration of the truck. So in order to calculate acceleration, you have to know the initial velocity. You also know the final velocity and the time taken for the truck to accelerate. So our data is going to be final velocity, have the initial velocity, we have the time taken, and the acceleration which is being calculated. So our final velocity is 45 meters per second, initial 25 meters per second, time taken 40 seconds, and acceleration there. So acceleration is equal to final velocity minus initial velocity divided by time. So our final velocity there is 45 meters per second minus the initial velocity, which is the 25 meters per second, divided by time taken 40 seconds. So when we say 45 minus 25, we're going to have 20 meters per second divided by 40 seconds. So here we are going to say, we cancel the zeros there, then we say 4 into 2, that is 0, put 0 there, and a point. 4 into 20, that is a 5. Then we bring down the units. So we have our acceleration as 0.5 meters per second squared. Okay, so let's also look at this other example. Which is saying a car starts from rest and accelerates to 30 meters per second in 15 seconds. Calculate the acceleration of the car. So as usual, you take note of the important points which has been given in this question. So we have starts from rest, then accelerates to 30 meters per second in 15 seconds. So we write our data. So we have the final velocity, the initial velocity, then we also the time taken and the acceleration that we are calculating. So our final velocity is 30 meters per second. Then our initial velocity, in the question, it is saying started from rest, meaning the car is starting from rest. So our initial velocity is 0 meters per second because it started from rest. Then the time taken for it to move from 0 to 30 meters per second is 15 seconds. So say acceleration is equal to final velocity minus the initial velocity divided by the time taken, which is equal to 30 meters per second minus 0 meters per second divided by 15 seconds equals there. So when you say 30 minus 0, we have 30 meters per second divided by 15 seconds. So we are going to have 15 into 30, that is 2 times. So we say 2 meters per second squared as our acceleration. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you followed through.